is Interesting Times, the podcast that is it. Get it? Because Interesting Times, IT. It's it. That's our new marketing.
I like that.
This is just for those new people. It's Gideon Evans here and Matt Moses.
It's proven. It's irrefutable.
It's it.
How can you deny
The it
that?
factor. That's what we could have on our posters.
Oh, spicy boys. That's us.
Spicy, but maybe that should be the name of the podcast.
It sounds
Spicy
more
boys.
like a podcast name. I
Like
think.
the Jerky Boys.
Oh gosh, classics right there.
That was good stuff.
Yeah, was that something that was mainly in New York, or maybe it
I
started
think
there?
it was national, but they were clearly New Yorkers.
Right.
I saw that like one of the founders of those Jerky Boys was doing some talk or some performance,
Yeah.
and they had a picture of him, and it's like, if you want to feel old, look at a picture of that guy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was such a long time ago.
Yeah, these are guys who did prank phone calls, and it was really popular when I was in junior high. And junior high boys are like ready to make prank phone calls anyway.
I did that. I made a bunch of prank phone calls.
They really inspired us. Did you any good ones?
Probably, yeah. There was this guy actually who lived, I don't know where he lived actually, but my friend Jack Johnson and I used to call him, and we nicknamed him Ranky because he used to insult us every time we called him.
How could
He
you
would
not
rank us out. That was like, the way
Right.
you talk about like insulting somebody's mama or something.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, and then we used to we went to Hebrew school or something, and we would call our teachers and harass them. It was really horrible, actually.
Wow. But
It would
is
not
there,
be tolerated today.
Is there a Hebrew word for that sort of I don't know, indiscretion? Small.
I don't know.
What?
Definitely Yiddish.
Yeah.
Lots of Yiddish, good Yiddish words for insults.
It's got to be. Yeah. No, I definitely got in trouble for some prank phone calls.
You did some of that. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I really did not. I was really on the outskirts of people doing it. I was pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was actually in high school that I was at a block party, and somebody made a prank phone call to an ex-girlfriend of mine who lived a couple blocks away. And so she did. This was I think it was *69, and you could call
right.
back.
Yes, you'd automatically call somebody back if you dialed that.
So she did that. I had no idea any of this was going on. So she did that, and then figured it out. And then she and her mom drive up to the block party where we are. We're sitting in front of the house at the edge of the street, and she jumps out of the car and stamps her way towards us and just starts screaming at me in front of all these adults and saying how dare you, and I'm getting up and backing away and being well, I didn't do anything, I didn't call you. And all the adults started laughing at her. And
you got swept up in it.
Yeah, I got swept up in it, but no one got in trouble. And it was, she looked crazy.
Yeah.
That's my story.
And speaking of insults, there was some insulting going on the floor of Congress.
I know, this is getting
How's that
crazy.
for a segue?
I mean, that was excellent, actually.
Smooth. And we'll talk a little bit about the trial, but the jury's not going to be deliberating till next week. We found out.
Really disappointing, because they've finished. The defense is rested, but I guess they still need to do their closing arguments.
I guess, right? But how long does that take? I don't know.
Yeah, too many endings. That's my review. Too many endings.
That's a good one. False
Thank you.
endings. So we're going to focus first. We're going to touch on a few different things. First, this thing that happened in Congress. 2 congresswomen, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who we all know and don't love, and this woman, Jasmine Crockett, who's a Democrat from Texas. And so I guess we could play the tape and then break it down afterwards.
Let's do it.
I'd like to know if any of the Democrats on this committee are employing Judge Merchan's daughter.
Please tell me what that has to do with Merrick Garland.
Is she a porn star?
Oh, Goldman. That's right. He's advising. Okay.
He's advising who? What? Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about AG.
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No,
what you're
ain't
reading.
nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order.
Mr. Chairman,
That's beneath
would
even
you
your
please
history.
regain
That's
order
beneath
of your
you.
committee.
Order.
I do have a point of order, and I would like to move to take down Ms. Greene's words. That is absolutely unacceptable. How dare you attack the physical appearance of another person?
Are your feelings hurt?
Her words down.
Aw.
Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play.
Baby girl?
We're gonna,
I don't think
we are going to
so.
move, and we're going to take your words down.
I
Thank you very
second that motion.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's a
Hold on.
part
I'm
of the.
trying to find clarification on what quality.
Chairman,
I didn't-
motion to
I
strike
had no
those
idea
words.
what you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just said
You just voted to do
Y'all did
it.
it first, so you
You
don't
just
have to
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get
Okay.
clarification.
Look at calm down.
No, because this
I
is
would
what
like to
y'all
get
do.
through proceedings.
So I'm trying
Hey,
to get
Miss
clarification.
Crockett, you're not
Y'all wanna
recognized.
play
Miss
games.
I can't hear
Crockett.
you with your
And
yelling.
You don't want
calm
me to
down.
Be,
Can
no,
you please calm down?
Don't tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all
Please
talk
calm
noise,
down.
and then you
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
Because if I
Look,
come,
Chairman,
if I
can
come
we
and
send
talk
a
about
break
her,
for 5
y'all
minutes?
gonna have a
Mr.
problem.
Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Chair.
Well, wow. That
So-
makes me think of Charles Sumner getting beaten over the head on the floor of Congress back in the 19th century during a fight.
Oh,
over
I didn't.
slavery.
Tell me more about Charles Sumner.
There was disagreements came to fisticuffs, and this was right before the Civil War that had happened. Yeah.
And was he from the South? Do you know?
Sumner was actually he was from Massachusetts, so he was the
I
one
see.
who was an advocate for the abolition of slavery. So he was the one who was beaten over the head with
Wow.
somebody's stick.
Jeez.
I know it's
And obviously, I mean, you always see those goofy like videos of
Yeah.
the congresses around the world, like in Asia and India. I'm just talking off the top of my head, but I
Sure.
remember seeing lots of fights around the world. But it doesn't really happen like that here as
No.
often.
No, there was some incident I remember recently where I don't think there was an actual fight, but it was almost one. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, probably local stuff too. It probably
Yeah,
happens a little more.
that's true.
But this was pretty good. But it was so weird how it started. I think the Republicans have control over the Congress, and they've been part of what they've been doing is not passing laws. They've just been talking about like impeaching different cabinet members, and this one they were talking about impeaching Merrick Garland, and then they brought up the daughter of the judge in the New York Trump trial.
Now that seems insane to me. That's not even a federal case. Merrick
Yeah.
Garland has nothing to do with it. I mean, it does touch on
the
federal
deep
law,
state,
but
the
it's
deep
not,
state, man.
Right, I
you
get
know
everything's connected.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's all the Biden trial. and
guess
Biden is clearly pulling the strings. I shouldn't even
I've heard
kid
that,
about
I think
it.
they say Obama is actually the one pulling all the strings.
Oh, right. Or JFK Jr.
Oh my gosh!
If you're QAnon.
Like, really? Is that true? I didn't know that.
Well, they have this whole thing about JFK Jr. where he's like going to come back or something, or there's been sightings.
Do they like him?
That's a good question. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'd have to read up on it, but it's very weird. So the Republicans bring up the daughter of Juan Marchand, the judge in the Trump trial, and then Jasmine Crockett, a congresswoman from Texas, says, "What does that have to do with Merrick Garland, the Attorney General?" And that's when Marjorie Taylor Greene says, "I think your fake eyelashes are getting in the way of you reading," or something. I don't even know.
Yeah.
And then AOC explodes. She was somewhere in there where she was like, "How dare you?"
Yeah.
And then
Baby Girl. Love that.
Baby Girl, that was good. That was good. And then Jasmine Crockett comes back and she's like, "What would you say if someone was called a bleach blonde, bad-built butch body?" And that was funny. I mean, that name-calling isn't great, but if you're going to retort getting called, physically...
I mean, she got her. I think...
Shane, well...
Yeah, I think it scarred Marjorie Taylor Greene. She posted something of her working out, and she's about to turn 50, and she posted something about how, like, she's proud of the work she does on her body and stuff like that. And even when it was said, she was kind of like, "Well, I work out."
And I actually, just before we started this recording, I saw that Congresswoman Crockett is trying to trademark bleach blonde, bad-built butch body. So she's, isn't that amazing? So she's going to, like, sell T-shirts and, like,
oh my gosh,
shopping bags or whatever with, I don't know if I guess she'll be able to put a picture of Marjorie Taylor Greene, but maybe she'll just have the phrase.
Right. Well, yeah, because you don't want to be like, "This is me," if you're wearing that shirt or holding a bag.
Right. Exactly.
Although maybe it's one of those "if you know, you know" kind of thing.
Yeah. And what do you think about, like, that whole idea of, like, Michelle Obama saying, "When they go low, we go high"? Do you think that should be? I know I feel like that kind of ultimately got dismissed, that it doesn't make sense. But what do you? I mean, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, in some ways, it does feel like it depends. Like, it's going low like this does feel kind of pointless. Is my first instinct, and just to say, don't bother, don't engage like that, don't get into that, hog pit. But at the same time, it's like so much of politics is showmanship and playing for the people, and I bet her constituents are kind of like, "All right, go." I mean, I myself am a little like, "All right, go." She got her good with that one.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I'm like, we shouldn't be doing this. What do you think?
I mean, I'm mixed because I do feel like the Republicans have always cornered the market on just being like bloviators and like loud and insulting, and after a while, it kind of takes a toll that you can't just ignore it, and if you don't respond to it, that stuff kind of sticks. I mean, how many decades did Rush Limbaugh like talk about feminazis? And he could claim it was like hilarious or whatever, and same as his listeners, but it's like after a while, I'm sure his listeners like it sunk in, and it's like if you don't retort it, and then Al Franken had that book like Rush Limbaugh is a big fat idiot or whatever. And that was kind of great. I mean, it was hilarious, and you don't want it to all devolve into that, but maybe there should be some tit for tat. Pardon my language.
No problem. Well, I do think certainly commentators is kind of a different thing. But commentators of the left have been mocking Republicans forever, but sort of doing it in a smarter way.
Yeah,
I guess. But at this point, that all seems so just like, yeah, all right. It's like not even that funny anymore because we know they're lying. We know they're being ridiculous hypocrites. And it's which is so depressing that it's hard to even laugh at that stuff now.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
So maybe, it's like we go to the insult comic. That's the next phase.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. It's rough times. This is the Republic is falling apart.
Yeah, and we're like reduced to throwing insults about fake eyelashes. They're bigger things to talk about.
Yes.
Maybe someday we'll go beyond fake eyelashes.
Yeah, I don't know what comes after that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think fake eyelashes is like a thing you wear, right? But commenting about her body, that's
right.
a little
body shaming, right?
Yeah, it's worse.
Well, it's also in our, where everybody's hyper conscious of, not like commenting on gender or that sort of. Butch body also kind of has that connotation of like she's like a man, which is sort of even worse than just.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
is there something wrong with having a butch body? Not really.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's fun. You were talking about the Trump case going on.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of a blow up,
right,
in that this week as well. There was a huge flare up with the judge getting angry and blowing up on a witness.
Well, the defense witness. Yeah, it was their only one, right? Or maybe they called a paralegal.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, but one of their only. It was this former lawyer, still a lawyer, but a former prosecutor, but had spent most of his career as a defense attorney, this guy Costello, and he was basically just coming in to speak to the law as an expert on the law. And he was getting very huffy when the judge wasn't ruling the way that the defense wanted him to rule. And the judge told him, like, all right, stop that. You're not allowed to do that in my courtroom. You can't, like, give out these sighs or roll your eyes or do anything like that. And I think he continued to do it, and the judge yelled again.
And he cleared the courtroom, right?
Well, then what happened was...
Yeah.
The judge said that, and the guy just, like, stared him down.
Yeah.
And that's when the judge was like, nope. And he cleared the courtroom and said,
right,
we're going to talk about this. Pretty crazy.
He said, your behavior is contemptuous. And this judge, Merchan, is pretty, like, even-keeled.
Right. They said he's never flipped out before. I wonder if, like, he's been holding it in because Trump has been, beyond the pale and offensive and disrespectful to the entire proceedings, including to him. But he hasn't actually held him in contempt when any other person he would have,
Right. And this guy Costello, he knew Michael Cohen. So they were also asking him about, because he's the guy that Giuliani was friends with, and they were trying to get Costello to kind of be Cohen's lawyer so that he wouldn't flip.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And the judge was like, Costello's a fine lawyer, but Costello wanted to kind of take down Cohen.
Right.
By making him sound really like, as bad as possible. And so the judge was like, Costello can be your witness, but there's some stuff he's not allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think when the defense was questioning him, the prosecution kept objecting, and then the judge kept sustaining, and like that happened multiple times. And then at a certain point, the witness went, "Geez," or something like that, and that kind of set off the judge a little bit. And then you're right, like everything else you described happened, where the guy Costello started like staring down the judge. But there are people who are like, when they appeal this case, if Trump is found guilty, that the judge acted unfairly to Costello, that could be grounds for, flipping the verdict.
Right. That'll be interesting because I don't know. I would think that just based on what commentators are saying, legal commentators are saying, I would think that other judges would sort of respect Costello's the way he's been handling everything.
Respect Costello?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Merchan.
Right.
Because I don't know. Everybody says he's playing it pretty by the book, and he's not helping anybody. So
I guess we'll see. But some people were like, one thing I read was that if your defense, sometimes it could be a sign of strength to basically say, we don't have any witnesses. It's basically you saying they didn't prove their case.
Yeah.
And then if you do happen to call a witness, if you're like, all right, we are calling a witness, it's at that point that the jury's like, okay, let's hear their side of things. So if you don't present your side when you call a witness, people say it could have been a big mistake to just call some random person.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
Because if they're not really, oh, well, these guys called all these witnesses and made this huge case, and the other side, the defense, did nothing. They just kind of objected. That's it.
He just kind of cast dispersions on Michael Cohen a little bit.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Your prediction is that he's going to be convicted. Or do you still hold to that?
I still stand by that. So I imagine that will be next week. So we definitely should talk about that when it happens. We'll do a special edition.
Yeah, special edition of the show. It's going to be big.
Yeah, definitely.
Whatever happens.
That's going to be a big deal.
Although, I guess if he doesn't get convicted, it'll just be like, all right.
I don't know. It's going to be big.
They didn't get him again.
It's going to be big. I think it's going to be big. You're right. That, like, because he's going to claim victory. And he's going to be like, you see, these cases are just like these bullshit Biden
right, and I don't know
cases.
how much of the rest of his schedule is going to be taken up with stuff, legal issues. Can you call one second?
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see. It should be very interesting. And the last thing I wanted to talk to you about was, did you see that there's this movie about Trump that was at the Cannes Film Festival?
Oh, yes. This is insane. The reaction to it and just the details that are the case that they make about Trump, how they present him.
It's pretty interesting. It's him and Roy Cohn from earlier in his career.
Yes.
And Jeremy Strong. Jeremy Strong is Roy Cohn.
Oh, that's great. Of course he is.
And the guy that played Jeff Galooly in that Tanya Harding movie. What's his name?
Don't know.
He's playing Trump.
That's funny.
What's
Jeff
the guy's
Galooly
name?
and Trump are
Isn't that funny?
a
Yeah,
type.
they're definitely
I buy that.
Stan. The guy's last name is Stan.
Okay.
Anyway, that's the actor. And
I'll
the
be curious to see.
director is Iranian Danish director Ali Abbasi. So, Sebastian Stan, that's the actor who plays Trump. But it's very interesting. There's so many interesting things about it. They kind of depict him raping his first wife, Ivana Trump.
Right. Well, that is in, the record. That's what she
That's
said.
in their like
proceedings.
divorce. Yeah, and then she kind of recanted it, but
Right,
so,
she did, but only in 2015, right before the election. So,
true.
I tend to believe it probably
she was paid
happened.
off. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
they handed her like a chunk of cash.
Yeah.
One of the other interesting things about this film that apparently while raising money to make it, this guy Dan Snyder, who is the owner of now the Commanders before they were the Washington Redskins,
Right.
and he's a real ass, just a kind of jerky guy, really corrupt, and his work environment was really horrible, and he gave all this money. He's a Trump supporter, and he thought it was going to be a positive film about Trump, and then he saw it, and he was so mad.
I read this. I don't understand how this disconnect could have happened.
I know.
Okay, if you see that a Hollywood movie is being made with actual Hollywood talent and not sort of like the little grotto in which the Republicans hide here in Hollywood, a dirty grotto, then you just don't. How could you not what?
How could you not assume that it's gonna be negative?
Right? Unless he didn't really. I guess maybe he didn't know this. The filmmaker. Has the filmmaker made?
I don't know what else he's done, but yeah, obviously he doesn't have a lot of political.
Yeah, I
films.
guess. And Jeremy Strong, you might be like, oh, he's very Republican from what I see on HBO.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe that's
that would
what
be
happened.
So stupid. He's a real actor.
You could be pretty. You think of Ollie, all these Sacha Baron Cohen things, and how they get. Oh, and that's something we wanted to talk about. But how they get Republicans to talk to Borat or whatever. There's just so many good tricks you can use to lure people and work on their egos and
to bilk money out of them. I know. This makes me think, geez, shouldn't we be able to just go produce a movie?
$1 million.
Hit up some idiots.
We probably could do it. But we were also talking about Ivana as played by that woman who was in the Borat. You brought this up.
Right. She was in the second Borat movie.
Right, the one on Amazon. I think the second.
Okay.
And I think she's the one, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but she had that famous thing with Giuliani where...
Yeah, she plays, I think, Borat's daughter in it, right?
Right.
And then they're at some party with Giuliani, and she's flirting with him, I guess. And he gets her to come into his room, but she's off screen, maybe in the bathroom or somewhere. And the shot is just him lying down on the bed, and then putting his hand down his pants, and then he starts opening his pants up, and then she comes in and she's like, oh, I think he calls her over or something.
Right,
it's very clear what he is intending to happen.
Right,
it's really,
right.
It's another one of those things that it's how did this happen?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
We still we barely remember it. It was so shocking to me at the time that a public figure could, I don't know, look this terrible.
America's mayor.
Oh God. What a maniac.
So, so I think the next episode there's going to be a verdict, so we have something to look forward to.
Well, yeah, maybe. It depends. I hope so. But it might take them a few days, so there might not be.
I doubt it.
Yeah, you think it's going to be boom?
I guess if it takes them a few days, it means maybe there's everybody thinks he's guilty, but one or two people.
Yeah.
So maybe that, it may not just be guilty or not guilty. It could be a mistrial, too.
Ugh, that would be the worst outcome, honestly.
That would suck, yeah. Oh, well, we will see.
What do you think? Do you think Trump's going to win?
I can't say.
I
hope
think it's a
not.
real possibility. I really hope not. I think it
know.
could be a serious catastrophe if Trump wins.
Yeah.
But
It always gets really close at the very end.
it does. The polling. I don't quite understand how Trump is doing so much better than Biden. And I was reading a New York Times piece just saying, it's all about Biden's age, kind of, and
Right.
that people blame the news media, right? But Biden is doing miles better than Trump. Anybody who reads
Yeah.
newspapers, I think even watches TV news, gets news that way. But people who get their news from social media or from YouTube, they are Trump people.
Right.
So, and this whole theory is that it's about Biden's age, and those people are seeing all these clips of Biden looking old and frail. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I guess. I mean, he's old, undoubtedly, but to me, that seems such a weird thing to be like,
I know.
oh, he's old. I can't vote for the old guy. I got to vote for the other old guy. But I mean, that's how people vote, I guess.
I know. Well, neither of them are doing too many interviews, so you're just seeing them doddering around. Both of them,
Yeah.
are kind of like, you're just seeing them like walk upstairs or whatever. You're
Right.
not really getting a sense of like how they perform, because
Yeah.
the clips are so short. And like Biden can't, his walk and his gait, everybody says is like, not the best right now. So that's the thing. It's all very superficial.
Yeah.
But
They gotta
hopefully
start
the
shooting 'em up.
conventions, the
Yeah.
debates hopefully will help, and the conventions. So yeah.
Well, because that Trump is on, vitamin shots or whatever.
Right.
Right? It just
You
seems
mean
like,
Ritalin? Yeah.
or what? I don't know.
Cocaine.
Speed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something. I just wonder if they're going to need to do that for Biden for the home
He
stretch here.
must be. You have to think somebody is advising him.
You don't want to kill the guy, though. Jeez.
No, true.
That would be a nightmare, too.
Yeah.
For real. That would be terrible.
Yeah.
Ugh.
All right.
Interesting times. Yeah.
Very interesting. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a good rest of your week, Matt.
You too,
And,
Gideon.
hope you get over this slight cold you have. You don't
thank
mind me
you.
mentioning that.
I can't believe you brought it up, but thank you.
I know.
It's okay.
Sorry.
I'm ashamed.
All right. See you next time.
See you.